So, first up, we've got down Mike from Direct Line. Welcome on stage. Welcome. Says in here it's the top 10 tips, but they decided, especially if you really focus on the top 6, so you're in the format. So, take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to 6 Tips to Hack Your Digital Optimization Program. Yes, brilliant. First up, bit of work for you guys. I want everyone to take their smartphones out if you've got them. I know you've got them because we've been tweeting all day, so brilliant. In about 10 slides' time, I want to be running a bit of a quiz. I'm going to be showing you guys some designs of some tests that I've run over the last 6 to 12 months. And I want to figure out whether anyone in this room can look at 5 sets of designs and go, that one's going to win, or that one's going to win, and that one's going to win. So if you can just go to Kahoot.it on your mobile phones, type in this pin, it should take you into our little quiz room. It will ask you for a username. Please put something we can identify you with. So if you do, we've got a little prize. So if you win and your name's Dan like mine, and there's probably 15 of us in here, it's going to be very hard to identify who wins. So please use surnames. Nothing rude, please, but additional points may be given if your name is funny. Right, okay, so we've still got the pin at the bottom if you haven't got it yet, and it's also there later on, so if you can carry on with that. Let me quickly just introduce myself. So like I said, my name's Dan, and you can't see any of the stuff there because it's in white, brilliant. I am the Digital Optimization Manager for Direct Line Group. So what that means is I am responsible for all the web journeys across not only Direct Line, but Churchill, Privilege, Green Flag, and NIG. I've worked in the insurance/financial services sector for quite a while now. I started out at Allianz Insurance, and then I moved to Esure Insurance, which is where I met Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm your token bearded check shirt wearing UX guy. Whoever tweeted that out before, thank you for the introduction. I work Esure and Sheila's Wheels, part of Esure Group. I met Dan there. I've had a sort of history working through digital marketing, search, and a little bit of UX myself. So our goal today, both being A/B testing professionals, is kind of to get you guys excited about the potentials of A/B testing. I know we've had some people talk about some of the stuff already, but maybe find some interesting examples for you guys to say how you can use your A/B testing tools and all of your research tools in kind of innovative ways. Also, how to get better buy-in from your stakeholders and manage some of your stakeholders' less appropriate or valuable opinions, which brings me on to my first point, which is fight the hippo. So I'm sure everyone is aware that HIPPO stands for highest paid person's opinion. And this is the bane of my professional life. We had
mine, just
yeah, and I'm sure many other people here. So this today seems like a nice theme of togetherness, bringing qual and quant together, and also talking about, quite appropriately, the marriage between user Zoom and what users do. I didn't know that before I created this slide, but I'm pretty happy because it makes it look like I knew what was going to happen. So the hippo is a home record. If you've got your nice family together of qual and quant data all together, they're all saying the same thing. All the guys in your team are all happy, you're doing all the research. It seems like things are going in the right direction, but the hippo comes in and tells you otherwise. You need to get your research in front of the hippo or your boss, or whoever that is. And frankly, if you're the boss and you're making decisions without data, first of all, you stop. But if you're making decisions with data, it's good to tell your employees as well, so they are empowered and they know that you're making the decisions for the right reasons. So I'm going to tell you a couple of stories from my professional experience where this hasn't happened, just as a kind of warning, something that I'm sure everyone can kind of relate to. Number one is the fintech firm who failed because of one person's opinion. So they wanted to launch a new daily deals site to rival the big hitters, Groupon, Amazon Daily Deals, and all of those guys. They started out really well, all of the different teams, hired loads of agencies. You had SEO agencies, UX agencies, researchers, doing loads of different kinds of research, and my agency was involved in this. So I was busy putting together keyword research to find out how people were searching for different deals, combining that with some UX research, doing demographic research. These are just random screenshots of different tools, but you get the idea. We were doing loads of good things. Everything looked like it was going in the right direction. they liked some of that research so much they came back to my agency as well and started asking us, how can we boost some of the insights from your SEO keyword research by looking at navigation. So we did some card sorting and did some customer surveys, from which we found that from a no-brainer perspective, location-based sub-navigation was sort of the crucial thing for the daily deals sector, at least for new people landing on daily deals, trying to find deals. You get a cheap lunch, you go to somewhere near you. So from both an SEO perspective and a UX perspective, that was one of the biggest insights that we got from all of the research. But 2 weeks before the end of the discovery phase, the CEO or someone in the senior department comes to us and tells us that they would like a minimal Google-style homepage. Great. So all of that research basically goes out the window, and you end up with no navigation on the homepage, a logo and a search box. And obviously, being a new business that sells daily deals, first of all, their product isn't the entire internet, which is what Google's product basically is. Number two, they don't have some of the best scientists in the world designing their algorithms so that it's really easy to search. So basically their search bar kind of acted like your straight out of the box search bar on most content management systems, where you basically get the same three things every time you search. You get iPhone deals and some cheap massages in Rotherham. Unsurprisingly to the UX professional or researchers, when they launched their handy minimal site, they had no SEO visibility, very few visits to the category pages, and they came to us to provide some emergency SEO and UX recommendations, at which point we basically just gave them the research that we'd done originally. So they built a category structure and navigation to our specs 3 months after launch, by which time all of the good sellers had left the site already because there was no traffic. And like I say, the only deals left were those night massages in Rotherham. And after just 2 years, the business closes. So the moral of the story here is let's copy Google or any other tech giant is not a strategy. It's actually classic hippo logic. And I'm sure we've all been in meetings where, someone just pulls out the Amazon example out of the back pocket. I've been there so many times, you're like, guys, personally for us as well, I work in insurance. Like, insurance customers don't want an Amazon experience, but we find ourselves in these positions all the time. But it's not always like that. And here's a good example of another company. I'm obviously not naming names, but there was a business card company that I worked at. They were a client of mine, and they always were making good decisions. So they had a business problem where they'd identified that they had a dropout on the card size field for US customers. And they had some existing knowledge already. Obviously, they knew that US business card sizes are different to UK business card sizes. They also had a little mini card size, which was kind of like a little brand thing. And the hippo's opinion was that we should just go ahead and launch US size cards in the US. Obviously, it's a no-brainer. US card sizes, US audience. But thankfully, they did some research before implementing that straight away. And they did some multivariate testing where they basically tested 3 different versions. They tested just US size, just UK size, and then actually selling all 3, US, UK, and mini card size in the US. And they were surprised by the results because the version with all 3 was the clear winner. They then did some surveys to find out some qual about, what is it about these UK business cards that appeals to US customers, and they discovered that it's actually a bit of a brand asset, that people kind of were proud of the fact that they had A, this mini card size, and B, that this UK business card size was sort of a talking point. It was kind of unexpected, but you wouldn't have got that without doing the A/B testing, the MBT testing first, and then getting some additional qual out of that. What happened? They offered all 3. They didn't discontinue the mini card size, so they didn't lose sales or brand value. The sales increased post rollout in the US, and the hippo now listens to data, and sensible decisions are made. So the moral of the story here is that small decisions make big differences. So you should use A/B testing to make big decisions and build trust within your business.
Great, thanks. Following on from that, my first point is very relevant to that point. It's almost the same thing. So my point is keep your stakeholders at arm's length, and I'm pretty sure everyone in this room at some point in their career has been told by their boss or their boss's boss or someone in another department doesn't really know what they're talking about, that they know how to do everything, right? So you're a designer, and you get told, that design's wrong, it should look like this. Brilliant. You do testing like I do, and you get told, there's no point testing that because they know which test is going to win, right? Of course they do. Why is this important to us? Well, this is important because we should not be making decisions around our website, our journeys based on someone's opinion. It's completely wrong. No matter how much money they're on or how much they think they know, it is wrong. And no one can be right. No one can look, no matter how experienced you are, no one can look at 2 designs and say, that will definitely win and get it right every time. And to prove that, we're going to do the quiz. So let's get this show on the road. Same setup before, right? So if your phones have locked, unlock them to get back in the room because it'll kick you out. So let's just give you a few seconds.
Plenty of people. 55 and high.
Just to encourage you that a little bit more, we've got a prize. Forget about the Kindles that these guys are giving away. This prize is what you actually want. Don't diss the Kindles. You haven't seen this. 1 bespoke eyewear t-shirt. Not only that, on the flip side, the 6 points we've taken you through are on the back. Not that you'll need them because you'll know everything, but everyone else around you may not, so they can look. Right, how many people we got?
77.
Oh, it's
85.
still going up. It's still going up.
Let's just go for it. We're running out of time. Need to go. All right, this is it. If you haven't logged in now, you are now out.
Let's do this. First one. Right, let me get on the stage. No one else has done this. It makes me feel powerful.
There is a time limit. You've got 30 seconds.
What we'll look at, the KPI of this test was, we sell standard insurance product and an enhanced insurance product. Standard is here, enhanced is here. We've made this design here where we completely split them out and simplified it.
Hurry up, 20 seconds.
20 seconds. Which one of these 2, the control or the variation, won in terms of getting people to buy the enhanced product? It's on the right-hand side here and the right-hand side there. I'm giving you no more information. That's it.
7 seconds, people.
7 seconds.
Get the votes in.
Come on, get them in. And I do appreciate the resolution here isn't brilliant, so it's making your job even harder than it was before.
Okay, cool. We're all good.
Good. Excellent.
So we'll you should know whether you got that right or not yourself, but we'll have all the results at the end.
Let's find out. So let me reveal. Everyone's in. Are we done?
Yep.
Okay. So in this instance, big one. So simple design. The simple design worked. Yeah, B1. So let's move on.
We've got 46 winners so far.
46 people left in the game for that.
Congratulations.
Getting there. Number 2, so we did a test on navigation, which was to see if we could, by creating a mega nav, which we can see on the right-hand side, get people to buy more of our non-headline products. We have these products like travel insurance and pet insurance that are not the big pull like home and motor, and we want to see if by having this mega nav and putting the other products in there, we could encourage people to go through those pages. Vote away. So red is A, blue is B, right?
10 seconds left,
Correct.
people. Nearly there. 5 seconds.
101 answers, wow.
All right. Oh, it's starting to even out.
Ooh. Moving on. All right, everyone knows the answer, right? Because it tells you the app. What me doing it? I just realized that now. Anyhow, I'm going to tell you anyway. So, in this instance, the A variant one, control one, so having this mega nav didn't actually help. It turned out it just drove people away from our main products, which is not what you want to do. So we canned it.
Pretty much an equal split on this question as well, 54 versus 48.
Moving on. So this is now a test on Bank of Scotland's quote and buy. We just basically applied best practice to this. We looked at this and went, we've got a load of drop-downs. Basically, the industry tells us that drop-downs aren't the way to go, right? That we should put these and make them buttons, which you can see on the right-hand side. So anything that was in a drop-down was put into a button, launched it live, vote away A and B. How long we got?
15 seconds, punters.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. 79, that's
It is, isn't it?
two fat ladies, 88. Here we go. All right.
So, turns out that best practice didn't actually help us here. It turns out that on that journey to our customers, the drop-downs won. Not going into any more information. If you're interested as to why that may have been, hit me up later on. Let's quickly move on before we run out of time.
UX, me and Dupree is in the lead so far, followed by Generic Human, followed by Joe, Erica P, and C. Congratulations, everybody.
Good names there, people. Good names.
Couple more to go.
Number 4, guys. So this is the second last one. This is on Churchill's motor insurance premium page. The KPI of this was to basically sell add-ons, which you can see here. So not really conversion as such. It's can we get people to take breakdown? Can we get them to take misfueling? So what we did is, you'll see it's very complicated on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, let's just get away. Let's just remove everything that isn't super important and just give them, right, this is the add-on, this is what you get for it, and this is the price.
10 seconds left.
10 seconds.
Get those votes in. 5 seconds. Nearly there.
This is intense. I'm not even playing. Jesus.
All right. I love this.
Caught you out with that one, didn't I? I thought I'd start easy and get harder, and I'd get you into that little comfort zone and then just destroy your hopes. So, yeah, another one of these tests where what you think would win does not win, which is massively annoying, but there we go. Moving on. Last one. Anyone on 4 out of 4? Anyone? Oh, there's a few. You don't count. You've seen the answers, so you don't count. You're out. You're out. Okay. All to play for. All to play for. Final one there. So this is more or less the same test as the RBS test. We just applied standard logic, removed the radio buttons and drop downs, and turned them into just normal buttons. But this time it was on a direct line, and it was to mobile customers only.
25
Which one do you
seconds.
think won?
Got some answers coming in already. That is good. 15 seconds. Nearly there now. 10 seconds left.
10 seconds.
Got a few more votes to come in.
That T-shirt needs a home, people. Come on.
5 seconds left. All right.
Right, let's reveal it.
Ooh, even, almost a dead heat.
So as you've seen this time, best practices won. So is it because the RBS's customers are slightly different to the standard direct line customers? Topic for another time. Let's find out who's won.
So
basically,
changing at the last post, it's a guy or a girl called Joe.
that disappoints me considering I said
Thank
please
you for
put
the
second names, and now we've got Joe. that's
Generic
won.
name. Who is generic Joe?
Joe?
Hey!
Joe? Stand up, Joe. Round of applause. Well done, Joe. Well done. Just throw it in there. Well done. We couldn't get a T-shirt cannon signed. We weren't allowed a T-shirt cannon by Health and Safety, so, would have been more fun. Am I done? Oh, let me just bear with. So that was a good bit of fun, right? But the reason I did that was to underline the point that no one can really just look at these and just go, this will win, this will win, this will win. We need to test these things, and it needs to be data behind it, and that is how we actually improve the user journeys and UX. By just data-driven, it isn't opinion. That's the number one thing we need to get away from. And I found this more or less as a problem everywhere I've worked, and I'm sure you guys have seen the same thing. So I'll hand you back over to Michael.
Nice one. So test length is like a piece of string, or is it? So you'll often find yourself in a position where you're trying to sell a test to someone, specifically an A/B test or an NVT test, and they ask you how long is it going to take. So as sort of A/B testing professionals, we have to work out rough ways of figuring that out. And in case some of you aren't more familiar with some of the ways of doing that, specifically within A/B testing, I thought I'd give you a sort of a brief overview of roughly the various things that affect sample size and how you can be confident in your results and ultimately work out how long your tests are going to run. So you'll hear A/B testers often talk about statistical significance. Sometimes I've always called confidence or statistical power. This is basically just how confident you can be in the result you see in your A/B testing tool. So if you have a statistical significance of 95%, basically you can be 95% confident that the result you're seeing isn't the result of a random error. And there are three main things that go into influencing whether you achieve statistical significance and how fast you can do that. The first one is your baseline conversion rate. So whatever the goal is that you're specifically measuring, if you have, for example, a baseline conversion rate on the percentage of people that click your main buy now button of 5%, that's your baseline conversion rate. It's fairly self-explanatory. Your minimum detectable effect is kind of a bit of a fancy way of saying what is the percentage uplift that you would like to see. The higher the uplift, the easier it is to detect whether or to differentiate between random sample variation and actual results. And also, obviously, sample size, so the amount of people that go into your test. That's one of the biggest things, and people always talk about sample size, like how many people do I need, how many people do I need, but ultimately, you don't always need to have loads and loads of other people. I mean, it's obviously better to have loads of people in because you get your tests done quicker, but all of those three things work together for you to work out how long tests need to run and basically how quickly you can get significance. And I'm going to briefly kind of explain the relationship between those three things. I don't want to get too complicated, but I kind of want you guys just to sort of understand the basic concepts. So this is a little screenshot from the Optimisely sample size calculator. The URL's down at the bottom there. Dan uses Adobe Test and Target. All of the sort of sample size calculators do roughly the same thing. They're all really good, but I use Optimisely at my work, so that's why I've picked this one. So here you've got the various inputs. So let's say we're tracking PDF downloads, for example. The baseline conversion rate was 7% of people that reach that page download a PDF, and we want to detect a 5% increase in that. And we want to be 90% confident in that result. So we need 91,000 people to come through just our new design in order to be 90% confident in that 5% increase. So this is where you can start to think, like, is that the best goal to track for me? And maybe it's one of your business goals, but potentially the main CTA might be higher up the page. Obviously, everyone wants to test those sorts of things anyway. Your main CTA might have a higher baseline conversion rate. So by just changing the goal that you're tracking, this goal, for example, has 20%, you can see that it changes the relationship quite dramatically. You've already reduced the sample size required down to 24,000 people that need to go through your variation. So that's all well and good, but let's say you're really, really confident in this test and you think, oh, you're going to absolutely smash it, 5%'s nothing. Maybe let's just see how many people I would need if let's say we got 10% increase in clicks to that main CTA. So by increasing the minimum detectable effect to 10%, you can see it's drastically reduced the amount of people required to go into your variation down to like 5,100 now from 91,000 before. So again, don't really worry too much about the maths that go into these sample size calculators. They have guys from Stanford University designing the stuff behind it, but effectively, I just kind of wanted to show you guys the relationship between those three things so you can start to work out how easy it would be to achieve significance for a test that you've got, and maybe make some more intelligent decisions about how you prioritize. So that's that. Over to you, Dan.
Cool. So my second tip and the overall fourth tip of the sixth is shoot for the moon, and this is one that's kind of aimed at the UX design people among you, which I assume is probably most of you. In my experience, A/B testing is done in two very distinctly different ways depending on which organization you work for. You find these organizations that are all about, they kind of bought into A/B testing. It's very difficult not to be. Any logical person can see the benefit of A/B testing. But the way it's done is in a very reactive, safe way. So your competitor will make a change to their homepage, and someone in your company will see that, and they'll go, that looks good, that must be driving loads of money. So they come to you and go, excellent, look what they've done, we want to do the same thing. So if you're a designer, that's kind of not very empowering, right? So instead of them coming to you with a problem and you working out the solution, they're coming to you with a solution and saying, can you just make that look pretty? That is not the way to be doing it. So what I see A/B testing as is basically the engine to power multiple variations. With A/B testing tools such as Optimisely or Test and Target, there's quite a few of them now, it makes it simpler for us to surface many different types of designs and get them live and test them and get data behind them. So I feel like, as a designer, A/B testing should start to empower me. So it isn't just a case of A is my control, B at the top is then my safe variation that the stakeholder wants. We can start to do C and D and E and F. So we can start to do things that are slightly more risky. The companies that do this best, and the companies that do this best are super proactive and they take risks. And eventually you get to this point where you can shoot for the moon. So because the way A/B testing works, if you come up with a super radical idea and it doesn't work, just knock it off. What have you lost? You've learned. You haven't lost anything. Shooting for the moon you will miss quite often because it's a big risk doing that. But one of the key takeaways I want you to take from this is if you shoot for the moon and you actually hit it, the benefit of that far outweighs about 100 of these safe tests. These safe tests are going to give you this minimal uplift. Shooting for the moon, when you hit that, you will change the industry. The companies that do this, like Airbnb and Uber, they don't look at another company and go, their homepage is different, let's copy it. They go, there's a problem, a customer problem, how can we actually rectify that? And they'll do 4, 5, 6, 50, 100 ways of doing it till they find the right one. These guys don't literally follow the trend. These are the guys that actually set the trend. So, next point on that is, Optimisation conducted a bit of research, and it was all the tests that were run in a 12-month period, about 250,000 tests. And what that showed us is that 77% of those 250,000 tests had 2 variations. So they had a control and they had 1 other variation. Of those, 25% of them went on to give a significant uplift, which is essentially what we're looking for. You've got a 1 in 4 chance. Not telling you anything you guys don't know here. More variations, basically gives you a higher percentage chance of getting significance. Kind of simple. If you buy more lottery tickets, you've got a higher percentage chance of winning the lottery, right? What's more important is if you look at the light blue on the right-hand side, that's an inconclusive result. By having more variations, what we are able to do is reduce the amount of inconclusives. The green and the dark blue on the right-hand side are fine. If we get an uplift, wonderful, right? Brilliant. Let's roll it out and make loads of money. If we get a downlift and we know it's significant, also wonderful. We stop on that go live. We've got real good learnings off that. It's the light blue ones on the right-hand side that are almost demoralizing when you have to go back to your stakeholders or your boss and go, we thought the idea was brilliant, but we don't actually know whether it's better or not. By having more variations, you reduce that. So just to quickly summarize, more variations, more control for the designers to go off and do kind of crazy and radical things, higher percentage chance of you actually reaching significance, and less inconclusive tech. What we want. One caveat to this is not available to everyone. I'm very privileged that the companies that I work for have an obscene amount of traffic. The more variations you have, and this obviously relates directly onto Mike's previous point, the more customers you need to get through to reach significance. So if you have twice as many variations, you need twice as much traffic to reach significance. But for those of you out there that work for medium-sized companies to large companies, this is definitely the way you should be going around your A/B testing.
Cool. So, this is my last point. No IT, use A/B. So this is the idea that sometimes A/B testing can do more than you think, and this is one of the key things that I kind of wanted to get across to you guys. It's not always about running one variation versus another. Your A/B testing tools are quite interesting opportunities for you to inject new designs and new content onto your site, whether you run it at 100% or not. So we had a situation where we identified a problem. We had qual research telling us the same thing. We needed to identify a fix, but you've got no IT resource. I'm having to rush through a little bit now because we've had a little bit too much fun with the quiz. Basically, we did some remote user testing to identify a UX bug. I'll kind of go through this really quickly. We used Optimisely to launch a personalized retrieve quote banner for quote not buy customers, so people that had got a quote but hadn't purchased. We didn't have the IT resource to rebuild our entire login functionality, so we were just like, guys, we can help you find a decent solution. Good thing about building it in a A/B testing tool as well is that it's low IT resource, so you can just, if it doesn't work, you can tweak it really easily and launch it again. I'll probably skip this stuff because we've got a matter of minutes left. But yeah, we're doing lots of other ways. There's lots of other ways for you to personalize your journeys using your A/B testing tools. So making sure that all of your landing pages for PPC, your ad titles and copy match all the headings and everything on your page. It's a bit of a no-brainer, but there's some stats there to prove it. And then finally, Dan's slides. We've got 2 minutes left, mate.
Let me quickly jump through this. This one is super, super important, so I'll try and get all the key points in. There is no such thing as a losing test, literally, so let's see how quick I can get through this. Imagine this scenario, you've run 2 completely non-related tests and these are the results. What would historically happen is you would go to your stakeholder with test A and you'd go, look how good we've done, we're amazing at testing, fantastic, let's tell everyone. Test B, you'd go, not a great result. You try and sweep that bad boy under the carpet and just never talk about it again. That is fundamentally wrong. Take testing out of the equation here and imagine you've launched both of these live. A is still giving you a £50,000 uplift annually, which is wonderful. B is losing you £200,000 a year still. So by testing B, you're actually saving far more money than what you're ever going to make with A. Until we make that change, until your organization makes that change and you're afraid to fail, you're never, ever going to succeed. Literally just a couple more slides. Moving on from that, this is a different scenario. So imagine you run an A/B test and an ABC test, and these are the results. So we're 2 weeks in, 300,000 visitors, and your A is your control, B is your first variation, you've got C. So what B's done, B's got an 8% downlift, not great. C has got 17% increase, great, right? So what would happen normally here is you'd go, look how good we are, look what C's done, let's put all our traffic to C. That's what we'd do. So now all 300,000 visitors will go to C. You'll discard A because it wasn't as good, and you'll discard B. Brilliant. So you've made £300,000 for your company annually. Great news. But is that the best outcome of that test? Is it the biggest monetary gain? Is it the best for the user journey? The answer to that question is basically no. So when your analysts look at this, and this is what we're working on a lot now at Direct Line, is once a test is concluded, just because C variation is won, it does not mean it's the best variation for everyone. It just means it's the best variation for the masses. So you just have to look in your over 60s, they prefer variation A. And your weekend visitors prefer variation B. And everyone else prefers variation C. And now what we were going to do is we're going to throw A and B away. But imagine we don't do that because we've done a load of work on A and B and we don't want to throw that away, really. So then what you do is you just direct the traffic to the customers that actually like that variation. I've made that sound really easy, but in modern testing tools such as Test and Target, it's literally one click to do that. And you've basically achieved personalization. So what this has done is, it hasn't only given us another £110,000 uplift, it's surfaced the right content to the customer, and it's give them the journey that they would have wanted, and that is super important. And this is the point that probably aligns to the whole UX conference the most, which is why I didn't want to jump over it. And I think that is it, guys. All these slides are on our LinkedIn, if you want to download them. And thank you very much.
Thanks all, guys. Come over this way. Okay, Mittel, are you mic'd up? Do you need one? Wait, I have... yeah, no worries. I'll turn it on for you. So, questions for the guys?
Hello. You were talking about no one use A/B, right? And this is something I've experienced a lot of times in all the companies I'm working about. Are you exactly suggesting hacks?
Hacks?
Yeah, like you know, you want to achieve something on your side. You don't have devs. You inject some HTML hacks on 100% of.
All A/B testing is hacking your current site in a particular way. It's a really good point because the more complex you get with your tests, the more things can go wrong. We've had that experience at our company actually. The more hacks you put in place to get around the lack of functionality on your site, the more difficult it becomes.
To maintain.
I definitely say there's a really good point because while you can start doing lots of complex stuff, maybe full journey redesigns, mimicking certain functionality using JavaScript or whatever, the more complex your tests get, the more likelihood there is of having bugs, and therefore bugs and errors messing up your tests. So I'm basically saying, try to solve business problems that you can efficiently within the tool, but don't go overboard.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't build something in your A/B testing tool easily, then maybe don't try it. Optimize, you say over 900 rows of code, you start to get page load problems anyway. So.
Because yeah, the risk is exactly the scenario that I've experienced recently. That in Optimizely, we found like a long list of hacks that were created and forgotten on the platform, and we had to go and clean up all the things and assign specific Jira tasks to the devs to get rid of all that.
So the point that Mike makes is a good one, and it's basically about getting buy-in. So by being able to do the quick fixes, it probably isn't the right thing, but it gets buy-in. It shows people what the power of the tool is. You are completely right. And when I worked at Easure, we had this exact same problem. You end up putting these fixes in, and you end up putting yourself over with them. So you have to really toe the line and really know what's going on and unravel kind of the hacks that you put in there. You're 100% right. You've got to just keep your eye on the ball with it. Otherwise, it causes more bugs than it's worth.
Next question, or any other questions?
Hi. When you're doing A/B testing, what's your sort of preferred tool? Do you prefer sort of focusing on functionality when you're doing black and white Axure or color Axure prototypes or static designs in Vision? I mean, what's your opinion on that?
In terms of what sort of tests or what tools we like?
What tools you're using to do those A/B tests? Like, cause the manager that I'm working with, he's quite adamant that it should be done in code and everything, but then I'm trying to convince him that doing it in Axure is much quicker because you can literally get something done in half a day. Yeah.
Well, I guess with tools like Optimisation, you're using jQuery and JavaScript on the page. They've got little user interfaces in them, so you can drag and drop elements, change button colors, and create the kind of prototype or the variation yourself in the tool. So we don't actually use sort of like UXPin or Azure to do these A/B tests, if you know what I mean. Does that get towards you what you're asking?
I think it depends on the type of test that you're running. So I think your question is kind of pre-testing. Do you just put it in the tool, or do you properly design it in a design tool first? It depends on what the test is, right? So if you're running a test where it's changing a few images around and tweaking a few buttons, doesn't need a designer to sit there in Azure for a few hours and work that out. Let the developer just kind of work out on the fly. If it's something more complex, you're redesigning the journey. Stay away from the code for as long as possible. I mean, we're at a users in conference. The design should be done before they even ever get anywhere near code. They should be tested first. They should be remote user tested before they ever get anywhere near the testing tool. So it depends. It isn't really a very good answer, but it literally just depends on the test.
I have a quick question. Have you ever overlaid any usability testing during the live A/B tests?
Yeah, I mean, we originally were going to have 10 tips today. We had to cut out a bunch to make it at the time.
We talk a lot.
Yeah. So this is one of the other ones, actually. We've used what users do to actually QA optimizing tests before. You know, you can't always test every variation on every device or when you're doing A/B testing, so usually you just segment it to the devices that you have tested. But just to make sure that your tests aren't actually failing, you can create a specific test variations just for remote user testers. Or so that's what we've done. We've used it to kind of investigate funny test effects as well. So if variation had a massive uplift on one of our CTAs, but the rest of them were down, we actually launched a variation, remote user test that variation to get qualitative insight on. What was it about those buttons that dropped? Because it's the perfect example of quant via the A/B test and then using remote user testing to quality.
Oh, I have an agenda.
I got that.
Okay, any other questions or on to the next bit? No? All right, thanks very much, guys.